Welcome everyone to this live stream with Angel. My name is Christina Oliveira. I will be your host today. Today we have two very special guests from the shift that will be making an announcement that I think a lot of you have been anticipating. The shift is coming out with a black and white version of the film. Wait. That's already been made. Sorry. We're actually being told that the cast made a commentary. Hold on, no, that's already been made too. Okay, no, they're sharing that the film has been turned into a book. We have a novelization of the film. Sorry, hold on. I think that's already happened as well. What are we announcing today? Are we getting a sequel by chance? We'll find out. I have here Brock and Kristoffer with me, and Kristoffer will be letting you know what's coming up next with the shift. Welcome, guys.
Hi, Christina.
Can you guys hear me all right? I think we're just having a little bit of a delay there.
We're having a little bit of technical difficulties on our end. We're getting double audio. We're getting everything you're saying, and then 5 seconds later, we're hearing it all again. So it's kind of hard to understand right now. I'm so sorry. Okay, there we go.
Good. I think this honestly makes it more like anticipating on everyone, because everyone wants to know what's coming next for the shift. Can you let us know what's coming next,
Christopher? Still getting the audio. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. When you get a chance, you guys can hop in and let us know what's coming up next once you stop hearing my audio.
So I think I'm only hearing one audio, but I just want to make sure you guys can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm coming to you guys live from Italy right now, where it's 1:02 a.m. And Brock and I and the team that brought you the shift, Kent Carpenter, Angel Studios, we spent the better part of March making something pretty special for you guys. And Brock, am I good to let the cat out of the bag?
Yes. And Chris, I'm going to have to let you take the reins right now with everything, because I'm hearing everything everybody is saying, including what I'm saying, about 10 seconds after. So I'm hearing two different timelines at the same time. It's shift madness gone completely wrong. So I'm going to bow out until that audio is fixed on my end, and you two just do your thing. I can't even hear what I'm saying right now.
Take your things out. Maybe it's your computer.
Well, then I won't be able to hear anything you're saying.
Well, you and I spent the better part of March creating an audio book for the novelization of The Shift. So you'd written this beautiful book, and then you came to me and said, hey, man, if I send you a DAT recorder and a microphone, would you narrate the book that I've written? And I said, gladly. And I spent the next month. It was a pretty quick attack on the work. But was able to go through and narrate the entire novel, and I played every character. So not only did I play Kevin, but I got to play all of the parts, which was kind of a joy as an actor.
That is so exciting. And for everyone at home who's watching, we're going to dive deep into this audiobook that was narrated by Chris here, and we also have a really special thing we're wanting to share with all of you. We're giving away 5 copies of the audiobook to 5 lucky Angel members who use the Angel Share feature on the shift on our website. You can share this with your friends and family. You can even share it to yourself if you want to get it on another device. But if you're not an Angel member, go to angel.com/shiftlive and sign up. After that, that's how you kind of pull up the film and you share it with your friends and family. And that'll help put in your submissions for getting this audiobook. Let me break that down a little bit more with you guys. You'll open the Angel app on your phone or on your computer. And then once you click on the film, there's a button on there that says share. It's really simple, and you share that with any family member that you want, any friend. And you can even copy the link and send it to somebody, not directly or maybe for later. It's really that easy. But we'll be accepting entries all day today and through Thursday the 16th. So as soon as you can, go ahead and get on, because it's going to be so fun to listen to an audiobook. that's narrated by Chris. And I don't know how you guys are feeling, but I personally am a huge fan of audiobooks. When I'm doing the dishes or folding laundry or even going on a walk or going on a run, it's honestly so soothing to just like listen to a story from beginning to end. I know a lot of people like podcasts, but I really am a big audiobook fan, and I know this is going to be a great one for all of you. Okay, I want to break up into the section where we're going to be talking a little bit more about the book and the movie and how like all of those pieces came together in creating this audiobook. I want to start by asking Brock a question, but I want to first ask, are you able to hear us, Brock? How is that
Yes,
audio
it's
doing?
all been resolved. Thank you for your patience, Charlotte. I hope everything went really well. I'm sure the announcement was awesome.
It was awesome. It was, yeah. But I want to start by asking you a few questions so that you can also share a bit more of your part on the creation of this audiobook. Let me put this. Can you share with us a little bit about where you know that the audiobook version will be available? We'll know it'll be on Audible, but are there any other places that you would like to tell everyone that they can have access to this too?
Yeah, I mean, the quickest place to get to it is at angel.com/shift audiobook. That'll take you directly to the page to purchase on Amazon, and that, of course, is in partnership with Audible. So that's the quickest way to get there, and it's available right now.
Sweet. And then I know a lot of our viewers here have already seen The Shift or know a little bit about the story, but can you give us a quick little recap on how we got here, how we started from the film, turned into a book, and now we have this audiobook?
Yeah, so the film came out, and it was an incredible experience to see everybody's response to the story that we had created, to the performances, to everything that was going on in the film. And the film was, it's very different. I think it's different from Angel's other films. I think it's different from a lot of films out there. We took some pretty big swings, and it was fascinating to see people's response to the film and how they were processing different aspects of it. We especially heard from so many people who watched it a second time or a third time. I think one woman got up to like 16 times or something. It was crazy rewatch value with this film. And the thing that was fascinating is that every time somebody would come back and tell us about their experience watching the film again, they would say how much more they got from it. And that was interesting to me. And it was interesting to see what kinds of questions people had. And so as I was thinking about that, I did a thing that was just very surprising to me is I went back in and I decided to tell the story again. I was interested in exploring it in a new medium. I'm also a writer of books and novels, and here this movie had come out. I thought I was done. I finally put the baby to bed, and I found myself writing the whole thing again from the very beginning as a novel. And I say I found myself because at first I didn't even tell anybody I was doing it. I didn't tell Angel I had done it. I was doing it. I didn't tell my wife what I was working on. She just knew I was on my computer more. And then it was when I was done with that I went to Angel and I said, hey, I've written this book. I kind of just did it for myself. I wanted to see what would happen if I explored this story more. And in doing that exploration, there's a whole lot more in there. There's new characters, new scenes. I was able to just express the story of the film in a whole new way that was much, much more expansive and hinted at, other places the story could go even. Angel was very kind in their response, and they're like, yeah, well, that sounds awesome. Let's put it out there. And so we did. And that's how the Shift novel came to be. It was really just this thing that was for me that then became something for all of you.
I love that. I think you're really tapping into this new medium for our audiences, because I don't think there have been any Angel movies turned into books, let alone into an audiobook. I think that's really going to help expand our audience to different mediums where they can find ways to amplify light. And I'm really excited for them to see that. I wanted to ask a question with what you expressed on this whole journey of like writing the book and getting to this point. What was a moment that was so memorable to you that you were like, I know this is going to really hit a lot of people and it's just impacting me so much that I can't wait for other people to feel this? What's a moment that was memorable to you that was like that?
Oh, gosh. I think for me, the moment that is always going to stick out that's like that is going to be the climax of the film, when it's the benefactor facing off against Kevin. And this guy right here, the performance that he gave of this little monologue that I had written, that actually I didn't even necessarily think was going to be in the film. But it was something that I had written that I knew was really important to me personally. And to see the way he performed it, and to see the way that Neil McDonough, as the benefactor, the way that his character responded to that, that was a really powerful moment on set. It was a very stressful moment on set. It was at the end. It was actually overtime at the end of a very long day for all of us that was all delivered. But it was powerful, and that was, I think, when I was like, okay, if this hits right for people, if this hits people the way it's hitting me right now, watching this being performed in front of me, I think we might have something really special. Yeah, for sure. I'd be curious what Chris thinks, though. Like, what was there a moment like that for you, Chris?
In the film?
Just in the making of it, where you're like, maybe there's something special going on here, or are you still waiting for that moment?
Yeah. No, I mean, the line in the movie that got me was the line that we are not the worst things, that we've ever done. What is it exactly?
I'm not the worst things I've ever done.
Yeah. And I think when I line, I was like, man, I think there's going to be a lot of people who resonate and respond. That line is going to resonate with a lot of people, because I think what we're looking for in life is grace. And I think that, the world religions, especially Christianity, pushes us towards forgiveness and the idea of being forgiven and the idea of, being made new and being born again, this idea of like how to get a fresh start. And there's a really interesting study about incarceration, and we have this really huge rate of incarcerated males in this country, and they are put in prison and then kept in prison for one bad decision that they made. And when you think about it, one stupid decision that they made is usually has this ramification that lasts the rest of their life. So as a society, we're saying that you are defined by the one choice that you made. We're saying, no, you are 100%. You lose your ability to vote. You lose your ability. But here in this movie, what he's saying is, I'm not. And I think when people hear that and when they heard it, that really it broke a lot of people. And I've heard time and time again people come up to me and say, man, that line set me free. That line set me free.
That's so cool.
I never forget that scene because my acting partner bailed on me halfway through it, and I was acting alone, and I asked for a second take, and we were behind, and I wasn't going to get a second take, and I said, you know what, the whole thing was done. I was angry because I was frustrated.
I was trying not to tell that story.
Well, I'll tell it at this point. But with so much water's gone down the bridge, why not? And I so frustrated that my reaction was one of like, I was angry. I was physically angry as an actor, not as a character. And afterwards, I said, dude, I need another take. And you had said to me, we're on overtime, we got to go. And I was like, Brock, this is the moment, like, you have the character, like, we have to give this guy one more shot. And I remember Ken Carpenter stepped in and was like, hold on, can we figure this out? I don't know why your mind got changed or how, but you gave me one more take at it. And I remember just deciding to play it. And I know we have a pretty mixed bag of people who watch this, but I think people who want to amplify light all can acknowledge that Jesus is the source of the ultimate light. And so I was like, I'm just going to play this part. How would Jesus play this part? Like, how would Jesus do this moment? And so it was just love. And I was just like, how do I love even the devil? Like, what I'm like, how do I love even this person right here, right now? And it's one of those performances where I don't get to take a lot of credit for it because something took over. And I was able to just surrender to a moment, which I think ended up being really beautiful. And when I watch it, I'm very proud of it as a conduit. I think an actor at their best shows up and is a conduit. And I'm really proud of the film, Brock. I think you did an incredible job creating Kevin, and the chance to play that was honestly the chance of a lifetime. I mean, it was such an awesome role. I had such a blast playing that character.
Well, you did an incredible job with it.
I love this back and forth of you guys sharing this because it really reminds me of how this movie really can impact people and remind them that second chances are so real and so available for us to like just take. We're never really lost. And I want to ask you, Chris, a little bit about how yes, you portray this in the film, but then you recorded an entire audiobook of this. How was that experience a little bit different? And how were you able to relive some of those moments that you had on set that you're excited for listeners to hear when they hear your narration for this?
Well, I think what Brock was able to do was completely reimagine the story. I think when you make a movie, you've got so many circumstances that are out of your control. The characters, the way they look, the way they sound, the circumstances, the setting, the day, your setups, you have to rush through your day. When you're writing a book, you don't have to consider any of those variables. It's an unlimited budget. You can take as much time as you want to tell a scene and to tell the story. And I think what's really fascinating, and kudos to Angel for backing this, honestly. It was a bold move for a studio to bet on a first-time director with such a massive sci-fi, faith-based movie that is about multiple worlds and multiple timelines, and then to double down on that. And I'm going to reiterate, but to do the black and white version and to do all of the behind the scenes stuff, and then to greenlight a book and say, here's another way into this story. Because if you're like tuning into this right now because you happen to like my Hallmark stuff and you're like, I know that guy, what's he doing? And you're like, wait, what's The Shift? I haven't seen it yet. You have this awesome opportunity to watch a movie and then dig into the behind, almost like a deeper version of the story through the novel. And then if you're like 98% of modern day readers who don't want to pick up a book but love just starting one on their phone and drifting off at night and then catching back up, the audio version, and I'm excited, Brock. I haven't heard it yet, so I don't even know how did I do.
I can tell you exactly how you did. You did a fantastic job. And I'll tell you the thing that Chris isn't telling you is that, well, not number one, if you are a fan of Chris, if you're a fan of Chris from The Shift or from Hallmark or Mad Men or any other thing that Chris has done, the coolest thing about this audiobook is that you now have an 8.5-hour performance from Kristoffer Polaha that's just waiting for you to experience. And it's awesome, and it's excellent, and it's moving, and it's everything you want from a Kristoffer Polaha performance. And what's more than that is that not only did you get to dive back into Kevin, and the reason that you're narrating it, of course, is because the entire book is written in the first person. In the same way that the movie is told from Kevin's perspective, the book is told from Kevin's perspective. It's Kevin voicing the events of the film, which is also why if you had said no to doing the audiobook, there would be no audiobook. There's literally no one else on earth that I would ever even contemplate allowing to voice this book. So I'm so glad that you said yes. But not only did you go back in and tell Kevin's story, you also did have the opportunity to voice every other character in the film, plus some that aren't in the film. And there were really only two options for you. And I was very curious which one you would take. Either you're going to try to mimic the performances of Neil McDonough and Elizabeth Tabish and Sean Astin and all of these great actors that we had, or you were going to take the text and go your own way with it. And I'm very happy to say that you took the text and you went your own way with it. These are the same characters that everybody has seen in the movie, but they're performed by Chris, and Chris did his own thing, and he brought his own spin to it. And you didn't feel any need to mimic Neil or Liz or Sean or John or anybody. You just created your own version of those characters, and it's so much fun to hear them pop up and to hear what Chris does with them. It's both funnier and more exciting in a lot of ways than the movie, because you just never know what Chris is going to do. So it's a really pleasurable listening experience. I hope people give it a chance, because I think they're going to be really, really happy with it.
Oh, I
Brock,
think they're going to love it.
Did you just say mimic?
You do have some talents at that's the other thing, is that Chris is actually a really good impressionist. He could have done it. You could have just done impressions of everybody, but you didn't do that. You did.
No, it was fun.
It was
It was fun to jump into the benefactor because that's just a really delicious role. Like he's a very, you know, he's a very he's evil, but
It's
he's
like
evil in a
enticing.
delicious way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
and he's so charming, and he's so just like there's a web, and then I don't know why, but Sylvester the cat was John Billings, like the Viking viewer. I can't remember why am I forgetting our guy's
Russo.
name? Russo. Like I
Yeah.
did this, I was channeling Sylvester the cat from Looney Tunes, like succotash, like
So funny.
but it was just fun to play, and
Yeah.
it was enjoyable to go back and remember. One of the things I'll never forget is now the president of SAG, Sean Astin,
That's
Yeah.
right.
son of Patty Duke. I ate a sandwich after Sean. He would take a bite, and then he would hand me this sandwich. And every take, I was like, I'm about to take a bite of Sean Astin's sandwich, and I would take a bite after Sean, and sit there, and it was take after take. And you get these really sort of strange, like I would never eat after another person in real life, but on camera, you just take the bite and you eat the food because the character's hungry and you do the thing. But in this weird world, all of a sudden, Sean and I were sitting out in this very apocalyptic backyard of a rundown, what was it, a furnace or
Yeah,
a
like a
copper
furnace.
mine? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it was some strange behemoth of a building in Birmingham, Alabama. And we were on a rock pile under some rundown twisted metal. I mean, it was like a weird cityscape, and there was a pond next to us, if you remember that.
Yeah. Yeah. There was.
And
Yeah, it looked like it was
there
going to
was a
fall
wind.
apart on you while we were shooting.
It literally, and there was a wind blowing, and the sun was shining, and I remember just sitting there talking to Sean, and in between takes, you do form this strange bond. Like you do form friendships, and you do have these experiences. Neil McDonough and his wife, their kids go to my kids' school now. They become like deeply interwoven in the daily fabric of our lives. I see Neil all the time. Getting to know Liz Tavish, it was such an incredible experience making that movie. And it's weird how it timestamps you. It kind of goes, okay, this was the moment we made the shift, and this is the moment that, Kevin was brought to life. I celebrated my birthday on set, which was like such a joy to have everybody gather around and sing my birthday. So as I was doing the audiobook, and as I was reading your words again and going through, all of that stuff was flashing back in my mind. So I was able to relive the movie, but in a way that was like Kristoffer reliving the days that it took to film, the conversation with the costume designer, one afternoon. When my kids came to set one afternoon, you and I going to burgers almost every night after filming,
Right.
All of these memories of the actual filming of the movie started to pop in my mind as I was going and reading the audiobook. So it was really a gift to go back and revisit it.
That's amazing. I know that our audiences, Angel members, and audiobook lovers are really, really going to love all of this. And I want to remind everyone who's joining the live stream now, or if you're still watching, that you can win a free copy of this audiobook. We're giving away 5. Sorry, I think my audio cut out a little. Let me say that again. We're giving away 5 audiobooks to 5 different members that share the shift on the Angel website. I'm really excited for you guys to hear it because, again, it is narrated here by Kristoffer, and it's such an exciting book that a lot of people are going to get to experience in a different way, hear more details that you didn't get to see in the film. And I know that we've been hearing a lot throughout with Brock and with Chris that there are parts of this audiobook that had them relive moments on set and then also had them kind of expand on the different characters from the show. And it's going to be amazing. So again, remember, we're giving away 5 copies. The giveaway ends on Thursday, October 16th, and then we will be announcing on our social media who the winners are. I want to wrap up a little bit here with a few more questions for you guys. Let me pull these up. Now, we've been talking a lot about the experiences you both had, and you, Chris, telling us that you've had moments where you were able to see yourself or see through the eyes of the different characters from the movie. Can you, Brock, tell us, and then have Chris kind of follow along with this, but can you, Brock, then tell us a little bit how going from like the actual script of the movie, turning it into a book, had you start to break down all these characters that you wanted to kind of tell their stories in a different light and have different details come out? What was that experience like? What were some details that you wanted to make sure were included in the book? And then you, Chris, as you narrated that, what were some details that you were like, oh, this is really important. This is so cool. It's a new thing that wasn't really seen in the film.
Well, one of the biggest joys of writing the book was being able to restore so many of the scenes that we had to cut out of the film. You know, there is a much longer version of the film that we could put out someday, because we did shoot a lot more scenes than actually made it into the finished product. And so it was fun to go back in with the novel and put some of those scenes in there as they were originally, but also expand on them, and also to kind of dive into some of the world building more than a movie allows you to do, even the script allowed me to do. For example, you know, one of the things that I really wanted the Shift movie to be about was this very emotional journey of this man, which to me meant not really getting too far into the weeds of how the shifting works and who Gabriel is exactly and who the benefactor is exactly, and you know what the structure of their organization is, for lack of a better term. But in a novel, you can go onto those side paths and you can explore that kind of territory without distracting from that main emotional story that you're trying to tell. And so I definitely took that opportunity in the novel. There is a chapter in particular and it's called, I think it's chapter 25, Behind the Curtain. And there's nothing in that entire chapter that's in the movie or even in my original script. And it is entirely Kevin exploring in the multiverse an aspect of how things work for the benefactor and for Gabriel that we never even planned and never even had a chance to explore in the movie. And you really see more of kind of like the inner workings. For people who are fans of the Screw Tape Letters, it's very much that kind of vibe where you're seeing some instruction happening for kind of our bad guy characters. And it's a really, really fun chapter. But stuff like that was really fun to get into. And Chris, I'm really curious, and I'll hand it off to you. You can answer the question. But I'm also curious, when you read that chapter, because it's just so wildly different from everything else, like what was your reaction to that chapter?
Well, that was going to be my answer, was that the classroom scene, because it's a great chapter and it is so wildly different. And you put Kevin in the situation where he's in the back of a classroom and he's learning, and all of a sudden it opens the world up in a way where you're like, oh, well, this is how people learn how to use the device, and this is how people learn their parts, how they're working, what part they're going to in the multiverses, or in the multiverse. No, I thought it was cool. Cool chapter. You did a job. I mean, it's not an easy thing to write a book. It takes a lot of time and a lot of energy, and to be able to go back and really treat the material as brand new and fresh is a gift as a storyteller. And I can't express enough what a cool thing it is that if you're a fan of The Shift, or if you're not yet and you're watching this and you're like, wait, I gotta go watch this movie now, I gotta get the book, I got the Gatto book. There are so many different aspects of how you can enter into the world that you have literally created a multiverse. Like, you've created all of these different versions of the same, you know what I mean? Like, and they're all kind of slightly, they're different. They're all shades of, like, literally there's a black and white version of the movie. There's an extended version of the movie. There's a novelization of the movie. There's an audio version of the novelization. Who knows if maybe there's going to be a sequel and we can continue to tell the story of The Shift in different ways. But it's a really ambitious, it's a life work, man, and it's an impressive thing. It's like building a cathedral. It's a really cool thing you've done.
That's cool. No, there's no extended version yet, but maybe one day. But yeah, there's really Like whatever your preference is, there's a way into the shift. Are you a reader? Great, we got that. Are you like listening to podcasts or audiobooks? Great, we got that, and we got a movie too. So yeah, no, I hope this does encourage people, even people who haven't explored the shift yet. Like, go ahead and just start with the audiobook. Like, that's cool. Everything works just fine on its own.
And I will say this: I've done one other audiobook. I wrote a book called Moments Like This. We did an audio version of it. And one of the biggest compliments, the feedback that I got, maybe not a compliment, but the feedback that I got was, you have such a calming voice that I'd listen to your book at night and it would help me go to sleep. So worst case scenario, if you have trouble sleeping, you want to go to bed with a nice soothing voice at night, you should get the audio version of The Shift, and I will at night I will tuck you in and put you to sleep.
There you go.
I bet you some people will take you up on that for sure. Some I totally think there will be some. I want to again just remind. I just want to again remind everyone that to join the giveaway for The Shift audiobook, you go on angel.com and you find The Shift movie and you share The Shift film with friends and family, and that will be an automatic entry for you to be able to win one of the 5 copies that we're giving away. But if you can't wait for that and you're like, no, I need this right now, you can go on angel.com/shift audiobook, and you can also buy the physical book on there on the Angel shop, and that's on our shop.angel.com. And a few things before we wrap up here. I know that we've mentioned that maybe there's no sequel coming up. What about a prequel? I think people might want to know.
Here's the thing. Well, I think we're all kind of prequeled out, to be honest with you. Like every time I think people hear prequel, I think they're like, oh, no, continue the story. So I'll say this. No, we're not announcing a sequel today. That's not happening. But I know what the sequel is. And I'll say this. I know what the sequel is. I know what it would be. I'd be very excited to make it. And the only thing I'll say about it, I don't want to say anything about the story, but the only thing I will say about it is that there's no way that it's not made, or rather, there's no way that a sequel would be made without this guy, without Chris. So that's the most I'll say about that. And it's in Angel's court, and if that's something that Angel wants to see, then that's something I know Chris and I would be very happy to make.
I bet
so. Tell everybody just beat down the doors. Just beat down the doors. Send in your letters and your emails. Tell Angel you want The Shift and The Shift 2, and maybe it'll happen.
It is a pretty cool idea. I've heard.
Yeah, I've told Chris the idea. I've told him the whole breakdown, so he knows.
I like it.
You can beat it out of him.
Let me ask you a question. Have we met the character that The Shift 2 would be about? Are you even allowed to say that?
What are you doing to me, man?
It's like trying to start something. To kind of
I'll just say that it would connect very well to the first film. It's a very logical sequel to the first film. Who it involves and everything. All I can tell you is that Kristoffer Polaha would be in it. That's all I'll say. But it follows very well from the first film.
There we go.
That would be so fun, honestly. I would be super down to see that. Another couple things I wanted to ask you guys. Anything else that you guys have coming down the pipeline? I know there's no sequel or prequel anytime soon, but anything else that you'd like to share with Angel audiences about any upcoming projects you guys have going on?
I think Chris wants to go first.
That's me. Brock has a cameo in a movie that I was. It's my directorial debut. It's called Mimics. It's going to be in theaters February 6th, 2026. Ken Carpenter, who's the producer who brought me onto The Shift, and I produced a movie and made it in my hometown of Reno, Nevada. And Brock and his wife, Erin, did me the honor of coming down for 2 days, and I got them on camera. So there's a cameo if you want to see Brock Heasley in my movie. And it's a weird little movie. You gotta check it out.
It is a
Theaters.
weird little movie, but it's fun. It's really fun.
That's weird. Yeah, it's good though. I wanted to make an entertaining romp, and I think I succeeded.
I can't wait to see it.
That's so exciting. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, and for me, I've got a novel coming out early next year called Paper Bag Mask. If you like Ocean's 11 and you like Breakfast Club, smash them together. That's Paper Bag Mask. And hopefully I've also got some more movies coming your way eventually. Certainly am busy working on that. So I don't think The Shift is the end of the line for me.
So exciting. I'm excited
Certainly
to
not.
hear more about it. I bet our audiences would all be excited to see more of all of you guys' work. Before, the last final thing that I want to do before we wrap up is let's share a little snippet of the audiobook with our audiences so they can get a little taste of what it's going to be like. And then that'll be the last thing that we share here. But thank you guys so much for being here today. I appreciated you guys being and sharing all about this experience of having the audiobook come together and a lot of retelling of what happened during production. I really appreciated it, and I know that our audiences did as well.
Thanks so much,
for
Christina.
having us.
This was fun.
Thank you. With that being said, let's get a little snippet of that audiobook.
The Shift. This is not my world. I emerge from the lake, gasping for breath and struggling to see land and trees I've never laid eyes on before. The waters are calm, save for the ripples from my flailing. I kick my feet to stop from going under again, and then it's bobbing safely that I notice the richness of the color of this world. After spending so long in concrete gray, I'd almost forgotten what real green looks like. I swim to shore. It's not far, but it feels like many miles when I'm this tired and hurt. I'm hurting, and I'd forgotten. When I pull up out of the water and onto the marshy shore, I see the blood on the back of my hand, thick enough that it didn't wash away. When you take a bullet, you don't feel it, not at first. The pain settles in a little later. Feels like a trick, but it's just the way the brain works. I'm tired of tricks, and I'm feeling the pain now. I'm at some sort of mountain lake, and it's beautiful. I take a deep breath, and the smell of pine and the scrubbed clean air fills my nostrils with a freshness that at one time wasn't so foreign. It uncorks a memory of boats on the water, a raven-haired woman smiling at me from behind oversized sunglasses, and a little boy running toward me to show off the perfect skipping stone he found half buried in the shore. The trees whisper with a rustle as a light wind pushes through. Birds travel the invisible highway between them, ignorant of me, and calling out to each other. It's the first time their song has ever sounded at all pleasing and not annoying. I like melody and harmony, not scattered notes that rise and fall without rhyme and reason. So nature's jazz has never held much appeal until today. Today it is the most gorgeous thing I think I've ever heard and the surest sign that I am well and truly free. I stand up, and it's like lifting too heavy a weight. I shed my waterlogged jacket, my remaining glove, broken glasses, and knit cap. No need for disguises now. I look around just in case. I have no idea if anyone on this world would recognize me in the first place, but I guess it hardly matters. If anyone is around for miles, I can't see them. A buzzing sound leads my eyes to the sparking on my left wrist. The device I'm wearing kicks out a rainbow light distortion that warps the air around it. My arm feels fine, but it looks wavy and stretched like silly putty. The number readout on the device display is going wild. I hit several buttons to try to generate some coherence. No luck. The main display screen is cracked after my hard landing in the desert, but at least when I was there I could get it to respond. Now, here at this mountain lake, nothing. I shake my arm and water comes flying out of the device. That's it. That's what it is. It's waterlogged. I wish I had some uncooked rice, but at least it's a warm day. My hair is almost dry. Maybe it needs a minute. Standing still feels like a mistake, so I walk. I don't go too far from the lake before I see a wooden sign. I approach it cautiously. It's the first, in this case, literal sign of civilization I've seen. And I don't know how civilized this world is. But still, I approach. There's no one. I round my way to the front of the sign. Prather Mountain State Park. The sound of tires on gravel sends me scrambling for the cover of the trees nearby. A van pulls up near the sign, and a man and his family get out. 3 young kids take off running for the water in their bathing suits. The man drags a cooler out of the back, and his wife carts off with a bag of food. Seeing them brings the longing that set me on my journey back to the surface. I keep it right there and allow it to push me forward. I follow the path of the van to a paved road cutting through mountains, shaking out my arm and pounding at the device to get the water out and make something, anything happen. I start worrying that maybe the device is just done, broken. If it is, I'm stuck here. It's not a bad world, but it's not my world. And I will find my way back to my world. I will find my way back to her. I walk and I keep hitting the device over and over again. It has to work. Cars pass by, none of them stopping. I walk far enough, my boots go dry and stop squeaking. I hit the device again, and again, and again, and again. And then, this world that is not my world is gone.